Good morning, ladies. It's Carol Lourie. I'm so excited to be here with my dear friend and colleague, Tricia Nelson, who, when you have weight problems, you think, oh, I'm not going to eat this. I'm going to cut out the bread. I'll reduce the sweets. I'll stop drinking so much. But there's a whole nother level to really working with weight. And it's not about restricting yourself and feeling upset and resentful. It's about getting to the bottom of emotions and emotional triggers of eating. And that is the area of expertise that Tricia is here to share with you. She has her own story, and I'm very honored and excited to have her here. So welcome, Tricia. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Carol. It's great to be here.
So we had you here once before, and you were just so well received that we had to bring you back again. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit about how you got into this yourself?
You bet. I was an emotional eater, I think, from the get-go, and of course had no idea.
Emotional eater. I don't think most people even, that's not like a term women even know about. What is an emotional eater?
I will tell you. So first of all, I totally didn't know that about myself. I just like food. As far as I could tell, I like to eat, I like to cook, I like to go out to restaurants, but the part I didn't like is being overweight. So by age 21, I was 50 pounds overweight, and that brought me a lot of distress. So again, to me, I'm like, oh, I have a food problem. Now I have a weight problem, but I didn't know that my emotions were connected to it. And it wasn't until I beat my head against the wall for a long time, trying the diets, trying the exercise programs, trying to get down in my weight. But I was a yo-yoer, Carol. I would go up and down in my weight. And I had like several sizes of pants in my closet.
I hate that. Never knew. You have this section in your closet, which is the small section. And
yes.
I hate that.
I know. So bad. Yep. And I could look at photos and know exactly what weight I was in every photo I'm in. So, that's how it went for me. And because I had like such limited success with losing weight and keeping it off, that's when I was doing, like, I started to search, like, what is going on here? Because I'm not going to diet and do the yo-yo thing my whole life. That's exhausting and like no results. So I was very blessed to meet somebody who talked to me about emotional eating. And this is back when it wasn't as well known, but it's still a newer concept.
It's a newer topic. Yeah,
it really is. So if somebody eats and goes overboard, like if you're eating something sweet or carby, chips and chocolate, Hershey's Kisses, ice cream, like I would go overboard. I'd go way beyond what I intended. I'd eat one bowl of cereal and be like, I want some more. And I'd eat 3 bowls of cereal and then I'd be stuffed. So anybody, if they relate to eating till you feel sick, okay, that's an indication of emotional eating. If you obsess about food, like I was thinking about food 24/7, when am I going to get my next fix? What am I going to go eat for dinner? Let's go out for ice cream. It was like a constant obsession. Okay. That's a sign of an emotional eater. Emotional eaters don't have to be overweight necessarily. Like if you have that obsession with body, even if you're a restrictor or, maybe holding back and in tight control, you still could be an emotional eater because we tend to not try to control something unless it's out of control. Okay. So that still could put you in the classification of emotional eater. Lots of people are emotional eaters. I find that it's a spectrum where on the low end is emotional eating. I think we all have we have the ability to go overboard. It's so easy to do and it's socially acceptable. So it's like, everybody's offering you stuff. It's easy to go overboard, especially when you're stressed. Stress plays a big part of it. So on the low end of the spectrum, I would say is emotional eating. On the high end of the spectrum is really food addiction, feeling addicted to food. That was more me, Carol, because I had binges that were pretty horrendous. Like I'd start with ice cream and cookies, but then I'd have to have salty with my sweet. And then it just would morph into this ugly scene that it caused me to be full of regret, self-recrimination. Why did I do that? I'm such a loser. Why can't I stick to my diet? All this kind of thing. So that, the noise in our heads plays a big role in this. What really
That just
qualifies?
feel really horrible. That's
Oh, terrible,
self-incrimination.
terrible. And it affects everything. It affects your libido. It affects your, ability to just get out there and show up in life. Like women are constantly telling me I have no self-confidence. I hide. I wear black stretchy yoga pants all the time. I keep my video off on Zoom. So it affects our self-confidence. It affects our mobility. I mean, after I would binge, I had no desire to go exercise. I just sit on the couch and watch TV. So it has an effect that we don't even realize. It's not just like, oh, I can't fit into a bikini. It is, it affects our energy, our zest for life, our sense of purpose. So, and I think where somebody is on that spectrum I referred to has to do with two things primarily. One is how much control you have. So I had no control, but if somebody can pull back, like, oh, I'm getting a little, like my pants are getting tight, I'm going to cut sugar out and do extra, time at the gym. That's somebody who can course correct. They've got a little bit more control than I had. I was a binger, and a nighttime eater. So I had very little control. The other thing that kind of qualifies where you are in that spectrum is the number of consequences you have. Okay. So if you go on a cruise, you eat too much, you don't feel so good about how you look afterwards, and you do that course correction, that's very small consequences, 5 extra pounds, maybe, big deal, whereas if you're an emotional eater, the longer you do it, the more you yo-yo in your weight, which is very unhealthy. The more you carry excess weight, the more your body feels it and starts talking back to you. So joint pain, prediabetes, diabetes, cancer, obviously, autoimmune issues, gut issues, depression, anxiety, all these things, are created and exacerbated by the kinds of foods we eat and the amount of foods we eat. So it's, that's really when the consequences start to mount. And it's like, we can't deny it. We have to face it. Otherwise, it just is going to keep progressing.
Well, that is a really thorough explanation of a very complicated topic. And unfortunately, most women who have this problem, it's hidden, it's secret. They go to the doctor, they get on the scale, and the doctor goes, oh, I noticed your weight is a little bit more than it was last year. Why don't you go on a diet? They don't engage the women in conversation. And a lot of times these behaviors are very unconscious. So women might not even know that it's not healthy or normal behavior to be a night eater or to be a binger.
Yeah. And it's
know that because there's no commercials for this on television. Hi, are you a night eater?
Right.
Are you a binger? So how are they going to know about it? Which is where you come in. And thank goodness we have the internet now. And you're about to have a big masterclass, another one, which I have to say my community did this last time you offered it. And I got such positive feedback that I wanted to share this information with everyone again to really encourage you. Even if you don't think you have a problem, this is a free moment with an expert. So I really encourage everybody to show up. So share this information with us, please.
Yeah. So I am doing a masterclass, actually a masterclass series. So there's 3 different classes I'm giving. The one I'm actually giving tonight is called, the whole series is called Diet-Free Strategies, how to overcome self-sabotage and feel great in your body. Okay. The masterclass tonight that I'm giving is where food cravings come from and how to make them stop. So if you have food cravings, if you are like, if that gnawing need for sugar, or for chocolate is like haunting you daily, definitely check this out. Because talking about food cravings, oftentimes people are like, oh, let me take a pill for cravings. Let me,
Is there a pill for craving? I didn't know there was a pill for craving.
Well, not ones that work in my experience. So here's the deal. Sugar is highly addictive. So that is going to create cravings for sure. If you have that tendency towards sugar addiction. But my experience, Carol, is most of the cravings are emotional, not physical.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, sugar and carbs, that has a physical effect in your body. You know, if you eat sugar, sugar will crave more sugar. But beyond that, we actually create our cravings. So that's the good news, because if we create them, it means we can stop creating them. And I'm going to be sharing with people how to do that on the masterclass tonight. And we have 2 other masterclasses happening, one around self-sabotage and also one specifically around emotions, like what to do, with what emotions get the best of us and how they lead to a binge or to nighttime eating, and what to do about those, how to solve that. So it's really a comprehensive set of topics that I'm offering in this masterclass series. And then at the end of the month, I have a really cool event that I'm doing, and of course, I'll share about that with people in the masterclass. But yeah, it's important.
It's very important, and it's really a comprehensive approach to the 3 main areas that women need to know to get their eating in their control. And when you've had breast cancer, and that's my community, and this goes for women with or without breast cancer, women across the world, really. This is not talked about on television. When you see advertisements on TV, which unfortunately is how most Americans orient their life, and the messagings we get about our health, you're depressed, you take a pill, the next moment the house is clean and the woman is serving a family picnic, which gets me very agitated and upset on all levels.
Right.
But here we are, we have food management problems. And for me, I know that I have potato chip addictions. They are not in my house. I will not buy them. I don't have ice cream in my house because I know what my liabilities are.
Yep.
And I own it. And I go, nope, not doing that.
Right. Not having it in the house is really important.
It is. And, when my child was living at home, she would go, Mom, can we have potato chips? And I go, no, you can eat them at somebody else's house. Right. Bag, go over to your friend's house and eat them and leave them there. They're not coming in this house.
Good for you.
I know my liabilities. So that is step number 1. But a lot of women don't even know what their liabilities are or their weak spots are. And then we get into this vicious cycle, as you said, about, oh, what's the matter with me? I have no self-control. I'm a piece of junk. I can't manage. And then that negativity feeds negative self-esteem. And then you get physically feeling bad. And the next thing you know, you end up in a regular doctor's office and you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight. And they go, well, you're a little depressed. Why don't we try an antidepressant?
Right. Yeah.
I'm a little depressed. Let's try an antidepressant. Get my blood pressure up.
It's so That's true. You're totally sing it, Carol. Yeah. Preach it. No, it's the truth.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to sign up for these master classes. We here in the world of the internet with our programs and what we're bringing to the universe, we're here to give you root cause healing. That's our mission.
Amen.
Instead of going to the doctor and having the doctor say, well, you seem a little depressed. Why don't we try an antidepressant? And you're in and out of there in 5 minutes with a script. Just say no, ladies. But say yes to Tricia's free master classes.
It is so true, Carol, because the thing is, my eating affected every area of my life. When I was eating sugar and feeling out of control around food, of course I was depressed. I was like automatic road to depression for me because I was down on myself, like just what you were describing. I was down on myself, felt like I can't do anything right. Sally, Sally and Susie, they went on a diet and lost weight. What's wrong with me? I can't do it. Trust me. I mean, and I just want to say so people feel, can stop beating themselves up. 98% of all diets fail. Like the statistics are abysmal. Proven to fail. So getting, a deeper and more holistic solution to the problem, of feeling out of control of food and weight is the way to go. And having a lasting solution, something that you can take with you day in and day out. If you go on a diet, you have to come off the diet. And that's where problems, start happening again. So yeah, I'd love to have people come to the masterclass and learn about this. Let's approach it from a different tack and get off the diet track.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, ladies, here we are. It's the moment of truth. And here is the registration link. Once again, I know it's a little weird link, but just copy and paste it. It will get you where you need to go. And if you're watching this live, or if you see it later, and if you miss even tonight's, then you can sign up for number 2 and number 3.
You bet.
And you'll be on Tricia's list, and you'll get all of her love and information that she provides. And it's a very difficult task to manage weight when you've finished with active breast cancer treatment. They put you on tamoxifen aromatase inhibitors. Your body goes, oh, let's hold on to exogenous or extra fat, exogenous adipose, extra fat. And the next thing you know, you've gained 5 to 10 to 15 to 25 pounds. Not hard. Women say to me, I don't know how this happened. I haven't done anything different. You're on a major hormone blocker, so your body is different. So we need to bring out all of our tools to help you keep the weight off and stay healthy without feeling restricted. Feeling restricted is resentful, and resentful doesn't get you where you want to go with weight or anywhere in life. It's all about abundance and joy and love, right?
You bet. Absolutely. And loving ourselves back to health. We're not going to beat ourselves into doing the right thing around food.
I love that. Beating up yourself gets you nowhere other than nowhere.
More the
Feeling
same.
really bad. Yep, right. I love this. Love yourself back to health. Okay, ladies. Thank you so much, Tricia. I encourage everyone
for having me.
Up, and it was wonderful to see you again. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. And this is Carol Lourie signing off for now. There'll be more later.